What's up, everyone? This is Matt Mrozek, and this will be an unboxing and review of the Turner Batman kit, unpainted kit from Hungry Hulks. This actually showed up today when I was at home at lunch, so I've actually taken a brief look at it, and he's pretty amazing. So let's take a look. The box is actually pretty damn big. They managed to pack everything in one box, including the cape, which is pretty impressive. Overall, the packaging is excellent. My shipper box is a little beat up, as you can tell, but there's nothing wrong with the contents. So let's get a measurement of the box, and it's actually it feels lighter than when a statue's in the box this big. It feels lighter just because the weight's spread out. But once you get the statue together, he's a nice hefty weight. So this box is pretty big, at about 30 inches by 26 by 17. So like I said, this showed up when I was at home at lunch today. I already opened it. So nice shipper box, even though mine's been beat up a little bit. No worries. Piece of cardboard on top. When I first saw the styrofoam, I was a little worried, but it's actually done really, really well. So I'm going to pause, take this off the table, and get this out of here and show you how it's packed. All right, so here we are with the Styrofoam Insert out of the box. And it's got the nice Hungry Hulks logo on the top there, as you can see. Nice. So when I first saw styrofoam, I was a little worried, simply because the Captain America kit I did back in July was packed in styrofoam, and it was terrible. But it was a different type of styrofoam. This is a dense styrofoam, not like that stuff that falls apart easily. So this is actually done very well. So let's take a look inside. Nice Velcro straps. And let's take a look. So everything's been custom cut to fit. This little part of the insert actually goes down into the cape to keep it secure. This is where the top of the base fits in, the hands and stuff. Pretty cool. So let's take the base out first. Now this is the one part of the kit that I wasn't too excited about. I'm not sure exactly what this is supposed to be. It looks like a barrel. I'm not sure. But it's got a cool sticker on the bottom. I got the last kit of the series, 9 of 9. This was taken over by someone who had a pre-ordered and decided to sell it. Sculpted by Avi. Pretty cool. And they do have a pre-painted versions. Here we have the 3 hands. We have, let's see, we have the left hand, which does not switch out, which is holding the batarang. Now I will say that these things, and I'm actually just going to pull it out. I'll show up close-ups later. Be very gentle with these. The great thing about the Turner kind of style is the exaggerated pointiness of things, which means everything's pointy, but which means that's very fragile too. So be careful, because all of this really pointy stuff is fragile, especially the very tips. So it looks like they've done some pre-assembly at the factory. It looks like these little fins were casted individually and they assembled them at the factory. Something like that. Again, personally, I think that would be better served if the builder did that him or herself. Again, these looked like they were assembled at the factory, but again, these were mainly produced as pre-painted statues. So they're producing these to sell them as pre-paints and not really kits. But as a kit builder, it's easier and less chance of things breaking the more you can kind of break things up and have assembly done at the last minute. Great styling on these things though, just really cool. Exaggerated kind of fingertips here. I'm gonna put those to the side. I'm gonna put all the little bags into the big bag. And again, with the heads, you have this really cool exaggerated pointiness of the ears on the head. Really cool. It's a really cool stylized version of Batman. There's the first head. So you get 2 heads. This is extremely high quality, done very nicely. I'll come in closer on the heads. One's basically kind of a scowl, and one he's just kind of has a normal look, but his head's looking down a little bit. So I'll show this a little closer once we get him together on the base. Here we have the body, and again, so this is where the little pointy things are fragile. I did have on one of the legs, one of the little points break off, and that's not because of the shipping, it's because of the way the cape goes on, and I'll show that to you here in a minute. And I thought I saved that little piece. Yeah, it's in there. So the way the cape goes on is tricky, and my cape will need a little work for things to fit correctly, and I'll show that to you here in a second. A lot of people were worried about the cape shipping and being safe. They did a very good job of packing it. It's packed down, and it's got that foam insert from the top to keep it protected. But just beautifully done. I mean, just really, really nice job on this. I love capes, like flowy capes, and this thing is just really, really amazing. Sorry, my dog is whining because she wants to go outside, and no one was letting her out. Give me 1 second. All right, so I'm gonna put this off to the side here. So here's the cape. I'll show you all the different pieces. The body slash torso. I have such a hard time with that word. I can never say it. The base, which looks like a big barrel. Again, not sure exactly what that's supposed to be. So if anyone can enlighten me, that'd be awesome. That's the only part I really don't like about this. You got the two heads. 1, 2, and then we have 3 hands. You've got a the left hand, which is not switch out, but the right hand, which is switch out, which has the normal hand, and then I guess the grappling gun. So let's get him into the base. Get him standing up. It's a very good fit, by the way. He goes right in. So this is the tricky part. So if anyone who has not gotten their statue or their kit yet, the cape goes on a very specific way. So the cape, I'm not sure if they provide instructions with this guy or not. So let me pan up a little bit, come in a little tighter. Okay, so the way this is sculpted is the cape really wraps around his body. And this is kind of where I messed up a little bit. And I broke the little teeny tiny tip right here, which I have the piece off the glue back on later. To get this on correctly, and if this is a pre-paint, good luck not scratching anything. You have to come from the top, come straight from the top. Come from the top down. If you try to come from the back, it's not gonna go. You have to put it on like he's putting on a t-shirt. So I'm gonna go straight down. And again, be very careful of his boots, the little pointy fins that stick out. Again, if this is a pre-painted, okay, so let me make a suggestion. If you have a pre-painted version of this, or later when you paint it, I would suggest possibly putting some paper towels on his back and his shoulders, something that's gonna prevent the cape from rubbing against it, because it's gonna rub. I mean, you're gonna make contact. So you have to come down like he's putting a shirt on real carefully. And since this isn't painted, I'm not gonna worry about like protecting his outfit. And just work your way, just go slow, and then I'll go on. Okay? And mine's a very snug fit. So, this is where my cape's gonna need a little work, I think. Well, I can show that to you in a second. So let's come down. So I just put the cape on like he's putting a shirt on. And it wraps around him nicely, just like that. Let me get a turntable out. I meant to have that out before I started. Of course, I'm never ready when I do a video. All right, I'm gonna put them on a turntable here. My camera never seems to be straight either. There we go. At least now we can kind of turn them around. Okay. Alrighty. So we put the cape on like he's putting a shirt on. And earlier when I put this on, the cape was wanting to hit that this little fin in the boot there. That's why I broke off. So I may have done a better job of getting it on this time. It seems to be not interfering with that. Let's go ahead and put on one of the heads. This is what I would call the normal head. Just kind of glancing down. Now this head compared to the other one is a very tight fit. I may have to go in there and, because the kit's been primed, I may have to sand some of the primer off. But just really cool. Nice sculpt. Right there. Okay, let's put in his left hand, which is not a switch out. And then again, nice close-up of this. Get the batarang. And again, that very exaggerated kind of pointiness that he's got going on. Nice magnet, fits right in there. There's no interference with that in the cape right now. Earlier when I was doing this, I was getting interference between the right hands and the cape. So let's see if I have in there a better job now. Okay, so this is where I was having problems. You can see here that this hand hits the cape. So this is probably where I broke off that tip earlier on the boot. I was trying to bring the cape in. So I'm gonna have to get in here with a hair dryer on mine. And this resin's thin enough that if I heat the back side of the cape with a hair dryer real lightly, I can put a little pressure on it and it'll conform to that shape. So right now, like this hand will not go in to the socket all the way. This cape has got to come in. It needs some shape. It needs some work on it. But see, now I'm hitting. That's where I broke that little tip on the boot when I was trying to do this earlier. So I need to, before I break anything else, I'm gonna have to heat the cape a little bit. And if you're not familiar with kits, if you're just a pre-paint guy, resin's pretty pliable. This actually has a lot of give to it right now. I'm gonna have to heat this with a hair dryer real slowly. It's thin. I don't want to overdo it. I'm gonna have to pull the cape in and into the body in order for this hand to fit, as well as the other hand, because right now it's hitting the cape. So needs a little work to get things to fit correctly. This one's not as bad as the other hand. So yeah, the cape's got to come in. And because right now actually this fits better now. Earlier today it had a bigger gap here, but so I do have just a little bit of the primer that rubbed off right here in shipping. That's no big deal because it's gonna get painted anyway. But cool piece. I mean, come on, he's just really cool. I'm gonna come down on my camera a little bit. I'm gonna pause and come back. Okay, so now we can kind of get a better view of what he looks here. Let's see, I'm gonna brighten this up a little bit, I think. There we go. Really, really cool. So I'm gonna come in on his face. Sorry, guys. Yeah, really nice looking. Nice sculpt. Nice interpretation by Avi of the 2D Turner artwork. That's a cool profile right there. Again, I'm a sucker for a really cool flowing cape. And there you have it right there. Again, the only thing I don't get is the base. I don't know what this is supposed to be. But it looks like he's standing on top of a barrel. Don't know. But cool piece. So let's look at the other head. The other head fits much better. It just goes right in. This is a snug fit on this one. And I tend to like this one better. I like the way he's kind of looking down. This one he's just looking straight ahead and he's kind of got a scowl on his face. Come in tighter on that. Again, you get a sense of what he looks like. Yeah, this cape's gonna need some work because I got some pretty significant gaps going on here with the with that right hand. So I'm assuming that if you get a pre-paint that they take care of all this at the factory for you. They make sure everything's fitting okay. But I'm not sure. I don't buy pre-paints. I don't want to force it right now because I don't want to break anything else. I don't want to break any more of those tips. I've only broken one so far. So, but he's cool. Let's see how tall he is. To the top of the ears, he's 25 inches on the base. That's with that head. And this one he may be just a hair shorter because he's looking down. Let's see. Yeah, with that head, he's like at 25.5 inches. So just with his glance going down, it's a tad shorter, but not bad. Not much. Cool piece by Hungry Hulks. I have their Turner Superman on pre-order, which I'm super excited about because he'll go great with this. And I think they're doing like a whole series of the Turner pieces, like a Hawkman. I think they have a Flash coming out too. So yeah, nice Batman. I love this. I love the proportions on him. I like his muscles. He looks good. Really cool. Love the grappling gun. Nice detail in that. The batarang looks really badass. So cool piece. I'll be doing a lot of Batmans next year, I think. We've got a few coming in. But yeah, there he is. Nice piece. This is my first time seeing anything from Hungry Hulks. Very impressed. Super cool that he's here and I'll be able to paint one up. But yeah, I'll put this up and put a link to their Facebook page and you guys can check them out. But other than having to work with the cape a little bit, he's like perfect as far as like a kit goes. I'll have to fix that little tip on his boot. And what I may do is I may fudge it, and instead of gluing that tip back on, I may shorten that. Just, you won't be able to notice when I'm done, but I may shorten that tip just a little bit so it doesn't break off again. It's probably a safer bet to do that. And also right now the cape is hitting the stand. I'm assuming it's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to kind of come out a little more anyway. So I think once I heat this and kind of get it where it needs to go, I think it'll be better. But yeah, I got to work on the cape so I can get a better fit on the hand here. And I have to do all that before I try to do any painting because I don't want to scrape paint. But there he is, 1/4 scale Turner Batman by Hungry Hulks. This is the kit version, and they did a pre-paint. As always, thanks for watching. It's Matt Mrozek. Catch you guys later.